The history of Afghanistan is long, complex, and marked by geopolitical struggles, cultural richness, and shifting power dynamics. Here's an overview of key historical events and periods, ancient and medieval periods. 1. Early history. Before 6th century BCE, Afghanistan, situated at the crossroads of Central Asia, the Indian subcontinent, and the Middle East, has been a melting pot of various cultures and empire. 1. It has been home to several ancient civilizations, including the Ayans, the Indus Valley Civilization, and the Persian Empire. 2. Achaemenid Empire. 6th century BCE, Afghanistan was part of the Persian Empire under King Cyrus the Great. 2. The region became an important center of trade and culture. 3. Alexander the Great. 4th century BCE, after Alexander's conquest, Afghanistan was influenced by Greek culture, leading to the spread of Hellenistic art and philosophy. 4. Maurya and Gupta Empire. 3rd century BCE 6th century CE, Afghanistan was part of the Indian Maurya Empire, under Emperor Ashoka, before coming under the influence of the Gupta Empire. 5. Islamic conquest. 7th century, Afghanistan was gradually Islamized, starting with the Arab conquest in the 7th century. 5. The region became a center of Islamic learning and culture. 6. Ghaznavid Empire. 971-1186 CA, Afghanistan became the base for the Ghaznavid dynasty, which ruled much of the Indian subcontinent and was a major center of Islamic culture. 7. Timurid Empire. 14th–15th century, the region flourished under Timur, Tamerlan, and the city of Herat became a center of art, architecture, and science. Early modern period. 1. Mughal Empire. 1526-1857, Afghanistan became part of the vast Mughal Empire under Babur. 1. The empire controlled much of India and parts of Afghanistan, particularly the eastern regions. 2. Safavid and Durrani Empire. 17th–18th century, in the 17th century, Afghanistan was part of the Safavid Persian Empire. 2. In 1747, Ahmad Shah Durrani, often called the father of Afghanistan, established the Durrani Empire, marking the beginning of modern Afghanistan's emergence as a distinct entity. 3. Afghan Kingdom. 19th century, the Durrani dynasty continued until the British and Russian Empire began competing for influence in the region. The Great Game and British influence. 1. The Great Game. 19th century, in the 19th century, Afghanistan became a major focus of the geopolitical rivalry between the British and Russian Empire. 1. Afghanistan's strategic position between these two powers made it the focal point of the Great Game. 2. First Anglo-Afghan War. 1839-1842, the British intervened in Afghanistan to secure their interest in India, leading to a disastrous campaign. 2. The British suffered a humiliating defeat, but they returned in 1878 to assert their control over the region. 3. Second Anglo-Afghan War. 1878-1880, the British reasserted dominance over Afghanistan, and the Treaty of Gandamak, 1879, made Afghanistan a British protectorate, though it retained its formal independence. 20th century and independence. 1. Afghanistan's independence. 1919. In 1919, following the Third Anglo-Afghan War, Afghanistan gained full independence from Britain under King Amanullah Khan. 1. He attempted to modernize the country but faced resistance from conservative elements. 2. Interwar period and monarchies. 1920s–1970s, throughout the early 20th century, Afghanistan was ruled by a series of kings. 2. King Zahir Shah, 1933–1973, oversaw a period of relative stability, but the country struggled with economic and social issues. 2. Zahir Shah was eventually overthrown in 1973. Soviet invasion and civil war. 1. Soviet invasion. 1979–1989, in 1979, the Soviet Union invaded Afghanistan to support the communist government, which was struggling against a growing insurgency. 1. The invasion led to a bloody conflict with the Afghan Mujahideen, freedom fighters, who were supported by the US, Pakistan, and other countries. 2. Mujahideen resistance. 1980s, the Soviet forces faced fierce resistance from the Mujahideen. 2. The US provided significant aid, including weapons and training, through the CIA. 2. The war resulted in massive casualties and a destabilized Afghanistan. 3. Soviet withdrawal. 1989, the Soviet Union withdrew from Afghanistan in 1989 after a prolonged and costly war. 3. Afghanistan was left in a state of chaos, with rival factions fighting for power. The rise of the Taliban. 1. Civil War, 1990s. After the Soviet withdrawal, Afghanistan descended into a brutal civil war, with various factions vying for control. 1. The Taliban, a fundamentalist militia, emerged in the mid-1990s, taking control of most of the country by 1996. 2. Taliban Rule, 1996-2001. The Taliban imposed a strict interpretation of Sharia law, leading to widespread human rights abuses, especially against women. 2. Afghanistan became a haven for terrorist groups, including Al-Qaeda. US intervention and the War on Terror. 1. September 11 attacks, 2001. The terrorist attacks on the United States in September 2001 were planned by Al-Qaeda, which was based in Afghanistan under Taliban protection. 2. US invasion, 2001. In response to the 9/11 attacks, the US and allied forces launched Operation Enduring Freedom to remove the Taliban from power. 2. The Taliban regime collapsed, and a new government led by Hamid Karzai was established with the support of the international community. 3. War on Terror, 2001-2021. Despite the fall of the Taliban, insurgency continued, with the Taliban regrouping and launching an insurgency against the Afghan government and NATO forces. 3. The US and its allies remained in Afghanistan for nearly 2 decades, involved in both military operations and nation-building efforts. Recent history and the return of the Taliban. 1. Peace talks and US withdrawal, 2020-2021. In 2020, the US reached a peace agreement with the Taliban, leading to the planned withdrawal of American troops. 1. Despite the agreement, the Afghan government remained fragile, and the Taliban gradually regained control of the country. 2. Fall of Kabul, 2021. In August 2021, the Taliban rapidly advanced across Afghanistan, and the Afghan government collapsed. 2. On August 15, 2021, the Taliban entered Kabul, marking the end of the Afghan Republic. 2. The US and its allies carried out a chaotic evacuation, and Afghanistan once again came under Taliban rule. Current situation. 1. Since the return of the Taliban to power in 2021, Afghanistan has faced a humanitarian crisis, economic instability, and a rollback of many civil liberties, especially for women. 1. The international community has been divided on how to engage with the new Taliban government, and Afghanistan remains a country in transition, struggling with its future direction amidst ongoing challenges. Afghanistan's history is a tapestry of complex cultural, political, and military events, marked by periods of independence, foreign intervention, and internal strife. The country's future remains uncertain, shaped by its rich history and its ongoing struggles for stability and governance.